Welcome to the Crunch Time YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be listing my 5 teams that I think have the best chance to land J.J. Watt, who was released by the Texans a little while ago. And all of these 5 teams made the playoffs last year, and this is the common theme. J.J. Watt, he played for the Texans, had a lot of personal and individual achievements, accolades, but he never really made a big, deep playoff run. And this is what I think his goal is going to be. I don't think he's going to be going after the money, team, like he'll be like the guy. He's just trying to get his best chance to get a ring. So, the first team I'm going to start off with, this one's probably the most obvious one on this list, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, we all know how his brother TJ Watt plays for Pittsburgh, and that's probably one of the main reasons why they're in all these rumors. Now, they are in a bit of a cap crisis to say, but they did really good this past season, started 11-0, around that. They did fall off a little by playoff time, and they really needed help on that defense. That was really explosive, but we're going to lose a Bud Dupree, which is going to be a big difference. Now, they were one of the best defenses. The reason I said they need help is players are getting older, like Cam Hayward, Stephon Tuitt. These players on the D-line are getting older, and if they can use more of a rotation, that would really make this defensive line even more explosive. Now, Pittsburgh has a lot of questions and holes on the offensive side of the ball. Offensive line is pretty weak, and their running back room is probably one of the worst in the league. James Conner is not what you need to really have a serious title run. So, this is why J.J. Watt is rumored to go to Pittsburgh. I believe Derek Watt is also on the Steelers. If J.J. Watt wanted to go to the Steelers and they need to get Derek Watt, I don't think Steelers fans would need to worry about that. So, the next team on this list is the Green Bay Packers. Now, J.J. Watt went to school in Wisconsin, was a Packers fan growing up, so this one is also pretty obvious. Aaron Rodgers on offense, J.J. Watt on defense. Sounds like the perfect 2015-2014 offensive defense captains to say. They're both older now, not as good as they used to be, but still really good superstar players. And we saw that this Green Bay defense needed some help on that playoff run. They really just couldn't get stops in the beginning of the game against Tampa Bay. They did do good in the second half, especially the fourth quarter, but they just really weren't consistent enough to give the Packers the help they needed. That's why Green Bay is mainly there. They could, and every team could always use some help rushing the quarterback. Now, the next team on this list, the team that just won the Super Bowl, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this one is a little interesting because we all know the Bucs are another one of these teams in a cap crisis. They have to pay Shaq Barrett, Lavonte David, there's other players too, Chris Godwin, but they don't have too much cap space. And unless J.J. Watt wanted to take like a $5-6 million salary, which I think he possibly could, then the Buccaneers probably will not be able to afford him. Now, him on this Tampa Bay defensive line might be one of the best defensive lines in NFL history, if not the best. We saw what they did last year. But if like Shaq Barrett, he said he wants to cash out. He leaves, goes to a team that pays him like 20 to 25 mil a year. Fill in J.J. Watt. Obviously, they aren't like the perfect swap, but that would still be really good for Tampa Bay. And they'd probably stay at least the favorites in the NFC. Right now, I think Green Bay is a favorite, but if they get J.J. Watt, that would very easily change. So, now these were the 3 probably most obvious teams. The next 2 teams are not as favorites in the list, to say. The other 3 teams, those are top 3, probably without too much debate. I don't think many are going to argue that these next 2 teams have a better shot at landing J.J. Watt than the Buccaneers, Packers, and Steelers. But I'm going to go more in detail on these next teams just because I feel like there's a little more explaining to do. So the 4th team is the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Buffalo Bills got basically demolished on defense against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they need a new identity. This pass rush is just not worth it. The same pass rush that the Buccaneers had against the same Kansas City offensive line destroyed Kansas, didn't let them score a touchdown. But against the Buffalo Bills, this defense looked like one of the worst in the league. This did not look like a playoff defense. And it probably is not a playoff defense. It doesn't really have too much to show for. And other than the secondary, there's not too much I'm really impressed with this team. The Buffalo Bills are a team that has a lot to prove this season, excluding J.J. Watt. The defense needs to improve drastically if this team really wants a shot to beat Kansas. But moving away from that, J.J. Watt would be the perfect fit for this team. Now, there is a bit of an issue of how much he'd be playing, because with other three teams, it would be a little more of a rotation, and J.J. Watt has had some injury concerns the past few seasons, and we don't know how much J.J. Watt really wants to be playing. Like, does he really want to play like not 80 to 90% of the snaps, or is it more like a 60 to 70%? Because I personally don't think he is at the stage in his career to be playing a large majority of a team's snaps. Now, him on Buffalo would probably still keep him as a second favorite in the AFC. A team that I didn't have on this list but still could get him is the Baltimore Ravens. If they got J.J. Watt, I feel like this would put them above the Buffalo Bills, and this would still give them a lot of money to make some moves on offense. Now, we're going to move on to the fifth team on this list, and this is the Cleveland Browns. This is actually where I think he would provide the largest impact, and this is really where I hope he goes, just because I think this would really impact Cleveland more than any other team. Cleveland has probably one of the worst defensive front sevens in the league. Linebackers and defensive line, outside of Myles Garrett, are not too impressive. But if they were able to add a J.J. Watt, this would probably make Cleveland the second favorite in the AFC. Baker, he showed a lot of great signs on offense. They'd be getting Odell back, and that's probably what J.J. Watt wants. A team has a really good offense, and if he can go there on defense, provide them a little more boost, more leadership, as this Cleveland team is a pretty young team, not too many veterans, obviously there are a few, but one of the younger competitive teams. But if they could get J.J. Watt in for a cheaper salary, maybe like 10 to 12 million a year for 2 to 3 seasons, I feel like this would give J.J. Watt a really good chance to win and probably provide the most impact, as in like Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh. Those are really good defenses, and he would really just be part of a rotation. He wouldn't be able to help a team like for Cleveland or Buffalo that would really just push them above the edge. Kansas is also another team that I excluded from this list, like Baltimore. I really just don't see them having the money to make this move. They also have Frank Clark, who is no J.J. Watt, but they still have a lot of money tied up in him. And I really don't see J.J. Watt going to Kansas City. That really doesn't feel like a move he'd want to do with how Kansas City really beat up the Texans a lot of the times they met in the playoffs. The 20-point lead that they blew in a quarter, basically. So, these are my 5 teams that I think have the highest odds to land J.J. Watt. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.